This is Zechariah chapter 9, verse 6. It says, "And a bastard shall dwell in Ashdod, and I will cut off the pride of the Philistines."
This concrete security barrier here runs through Jerusalem and hundreds of miles to the north and the south. On this side live predominantly Muslim Palestinian Arabs. On this side, the largely Jewish population of Israel. The 8-meter-high barrier, which the Israelis started building in 2002, is the most powerful symbol of the hostility between Jews and Arabs, which still remains after nearly a century of conflict. The Israelis say that they built this barrier to keep out Palestinian terrorists. The Palestinians say it's just Israel's way of grabbing more of their land. And that's what this conflict has always been about: land. Land known at the beginning of the 20th century as Palestine.
Back in 1917, the British controlled Palestine, and they promised the Jews a homeland here. The problem was, there were more than 10 times as many Arabs as Jews already living in Palestine. And as hundreds of thousands more Jews poured into the country, open fighting broke out between them. By 1947, things were so bad, the United Nations stepped in with a plan. This is how Palestine looked then. Lying on the eastern edge of the Mediterranean, it was bordered by Lebanon, Syria, Transjordan, and Egypt. The United Nations suggested partition. The Palestinians would keep land here, here, and here, and the Jews would have the rest. Jerusalem would be an open city shared by everyone. The Jews accepted the plan, and in 1948 they declared their independence as the State of Israel. But the Palestinians and the neighboring Arab countries rejected partition. War followed, and the borders changed once more. The Israelis took over Arab lands here in the north and along the Egyptian border, ending up with most of Palestine and most of the key city of Jerusalem.
Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai. Now, basically, in this lesson, what you just seen in the video was basically how the so-called Jews do not line up with the prophecy in the scriptures as being the real biblical Jews. And that's why I showed that documentary and showing you what I'm going to show you is how it's biblical prophecy that they was going to do what they did as far as going into that land of Israel in 1948 under the British Mandate of Palestine. But them being the real Jews and the Lord delivering them and putting them in that land is not in the scriptures, you know. But I'm gonna start off with the scripture. I start off in the beginning. This is Zechariah chapter 9. I'm gonna slap it. This is Zechariah chapter 9, verse 6. It says, "And a bastard shall dwell in Ashdod, and I will cut off the pride of the Philistines." That bastard is talking about these so-called Edomites, these so-called white people, because they are not the Lord's chosen. The Lord don't even deal with them. And they dwell in the land of Ashdod, that's the land of Israel. Jump to this next scripture. This is Amos chapter 7, verse 17. It says, "Therefore, thus saith the Lord, thy wife shall be an harlot in the city, and thy sons and thy daughters shall fall by the sword." Now that prophecy only fits us blacks, Latins, Native Americans, right? Do what? Gang violence, or just being killed by the regular police. It says, "In thy land," because this is the point right here though, "and thy land shall be divided by line," right? And as you've seen in the documentary, our land, Israel, was divided amongst the so-called Jews, which they fighting against the Palestinians, for the Arabs. And thou shalt die in a polluted land. Right, we up in America, this land is polluted. You got homosexuality, you got bestiality, you got transgenderism, you got lesbianism, you got witchcraft on the rampant. Everybody get to worship Satan when they want to. This is a polluted land. And Israel shall surely go into captivity forth of his land. Right, we over here in America. We in captivity. We not in our land, Israel, no more. That's why the scripture said, a bastard shall dwell in Ashdod. Break out this next scripture. Because ultimately, man, what's going to happen is the Lord going to raise us up like He's doing now and deliver us and put us back into our land. But it was meant for us to, us brothers that's in the truth, that know the truth, to bring out these prophecies and these documentaries showing that we are the real Jews and that the fake Jews are the ones that's claiming to be us. They took our heritage, they took our culture, our nationality, they took our land, they took our way of life to a certain degree. But this is Isaiah chapter 2, verse 1. The word that Isaiah, the son of Amos, saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem, right, the Blackstones, Native Americans, and it shall come to pass in the last days, which we are coming into the last days, that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established in the top of the mountain. The mountain of the Lord's house is talking about Israel, going to be established at the top of the other mountains, which is talking about the other nations. That's the prophecy that's coming to pass. And it ain't happening now because you can see that they are at war. It says, and it shall be exalted above the hills, right? And all nations shall flow unto it. And as you can see, America, right along with the rest of the nations, are beginning to kick off this third world war. Ain't no nations flow into Israel right now for to be under subjection under Israel. They're trying to fight and destroy Israel. And many people shall go and say, come ye, and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of the power of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways. And right now what you got going on in the world is all the nations are coming against the land of Israel and them so-called Jews, the Ashkenazi Jews. They're coming against Amalek. They're not trying to go and make peace agreements and try to follow under the ways of the so-called Jews not today. Why? Because they are not the biblical Jews. Right? It says, and he will teach, and we will walk in his paths, meaning the law, statutes, and commandments. And them Jews don't follow law, statutes, and commandments. They got holidays for homosexuality. They eat pork. It says, for out of Zion shall go forth the law and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. And that's not happening right now. And he shall judge among the nations, and shall rebuke many people, and shall beat, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. And that's one of the prime prophecies in the scriptures, man. When Yahushua come back, we gonna that's what's gonna happen. We're gonna destroy all the weapons. It ain't gonna be no more wars. That's how you know that they are not lining up with these prophecies. Because you see war to the 100th degree right now in Israel. This is last scripture. This is Isaiah chapter 14. I'm gonna start at verse 1. This is the ending prophecy, man. It says, for the Lord will have mercy on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land. Right, the Lord gonna have mercy on Jacob and choose Israel and set us in our homeland. Not the British mandate of Palestine in 1948. Not no British promising us no land and then flying us over there, man. That's not prophecy. It says, and the strangers shall be joined with them. The strangers is talking about the rest of our people that were scattered amongst these nations. All of us gonna come back together and inherit our land. It says, and the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob, and the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids, and they shall take them captives whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. Right, and that's one of the prophecies. We don't get to have these white people as our slaves, these Africans, these Arabs as our slaves. It says, and it shall come to pass in the day that the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai shall give thee rest from thy sorrow. And that's what we're looking forward to, man. And hard bondage wherein thou was made to serve. Right, we serve slavery. And we still in slavery. We're in a mental slavery and we're in slavery physically because we got to work 12 hours a day overtime just to get by. We got to pay taxes. It says, and it shall come to pass. Okay, yeah, that's it. But yeah, man, we, the blacks, Latins, Native Americans, are the real Israelites. The black man in America is the real Jew, are the real Jews. Just like Yahushua was a black man, his people are black. They didn't turn white all of a sudden. But yeah, all praise to Yahushua, double honors to the elders and the brothers out there doing the work in sincerity and truth. Shalom.